Hello, everyone. It's Michael Deere here, and today we're going to talk about building walls because it's a new year. It's a great time to refresh your life, and it's a great time to reconsider and reflect on things that you're doing that could be holding you back from the experiences that God has given you to enjoy and the people that He has put around you for you to enjoy. Building walls is one of those things that can greatly rob you of experiences, but you never realize that because it takes on the form of keeping you safe. For the people who do build the walls, and I know because I used to do it as well, and probably still do, but not as intensely as I used to. Um, but when you do these things, the disguise or deception is that you're keeping yourself safe, and that's what we tell ourselves. We're keeping ourselves safe, and but on the other side, you're holding yourself back from some real life experiences that could be a blessing to you. One thing I learned is that people are here to be a blessing to us, and if you don't see them as blessings, then they will become your enemies. So if you have the mindset that people are out to hurt you, then that's what you'll see. That's the reality that you'll attract. But when you have another reality or perspective that the people who are around and come into your life, God sends these people into your life to bless your life, you kind of approach relationships and experiences a little differently. And so that's what we want to talk about today. So first off, let's look into why people build walls. Why do individuals build walls? Well, there are three main reasons that I've seen in my experience that people build walls because they've been hurt, and that right there in itself is enough to want to safeguard yourself. So people build walls to safeguard themselves, and we're going to go into what we mean by build walls, of course, just in case you don't understand that terminology or allegory. People build walls because they've been hurt, and number two, they expect betrayal or some sort of abandonment or rejection. So they're expecting, they're in war or crisis mode. They're not relaxed, they're stressed out, and they're building these walls to protect themselves. Why? Number three, because they are vulnerable or fragile. And this is the one that I'm appealing to everyone. Everyone who sees someone who has a wall built, just to give them a bit of care and a bit of nurturing as you try to move them from building walls to opening up and just letting these experiences in, because I've been there as well, where you know that you're really fragile or you're vulnerable. It could be because of a life-changing, life-altering situation that just rocked the very foundations of your life. Has anyone ever been there where it could be something that you didn't even expect or didn't even see coming, but just one small thing that you didn't expect, it causes you to just go all the way back through your timeline, back to when you were in kindergarten, and you're asking yourself, why did I steal that sticker off of that kid's notebook, and what's wrong with me? You go all the way back there, and it's just a sign to show us how deep, how layered, and how many crevices our brain has, that all of these things that we think we've suppressed and we're done away with, no, they're still in there. So a person could be really fragile in a moment or in a space in their life, and if they are in one of those fragile moments, they will feel the need to build a wall to protect themselves, because there's a statement that says, how much can one heart take? And they're trying and attempting to get through life, and just trying to make it on that last leg, or a limp home mode, and they're not at their full potential, and they're just like, listen, I just need to get to home base uh, before another tragedy, emergency, or urgency comes up. And if I don't put walls up, I don't think I'll get there. So, for those of you who are trying to walk someone through that arena of being closed off or building walls, please, that last one, they might be fragile, they might be vulnerable in that moment because of some life altering issue or challenge. So, just prayerfully and carefully help them through that time. So, um, what does it mean to build walls? It means that you're closed off, you don't talk, you don't share, and you don't express your emotions. So it's just blank wall, stoic. You just, doesn't matter what happens, what a person says to you, you're not interested, and you're really private. Don't tell anyone about what I'm going through what I'm dealing with. Don't let them see you sweat. We hear all of these statements, but they're not necessarily the best manifestos for life. So when a person is building a wall, they're trying to get through life the best way they know how. They're trying to get through life without any further damage to their operating system or to their life. So the problem with this is that because they seem closed off, because they seem private, because they seem unemotional and uninterested, because they seem withdrawn and detached, most times that will result in people not appreciating or understanding them. And so there's this crazy chain effect, and that's why I'm doing this video, so that each and every one of you who may have thought to build a wall will reconsider it and realize, man, this thing has a butterfly effect or a chain reaction effect in my life, and I don't want to go down that road. Okay, so because now you've been hurt, you say, okay, I'm going to close the door to my heart, close the door to my emotions, close the door to my mind, all of the good, juicy stuff that makes you you. I'm going to shut it down. What does that do now? It sends out a message, and the message is, I am uninterested, I'm withdrawn, I'm detached. And what will you inevitably get in response? You will get detachment. You will get uninterest. You will get all of those things that you're putting out from other people. But because that's not your intention to give off that message, you're just trying to protect yourself by putting up the wall. But the individuals who are receiving it and who their perspective is relevant, they're seeing someone who doesn't care. And so unfortunately, when it comes time for them to care about you, guess what's going to happen? I don't know what kind of expectation you have for the people that you are withdrawing from, but when you need them the most, it will seem like they're not there. And it's not because you're a detestable person, but it's just because the message that you've been sending out with the walls that you've built, the being uninterested, closed off, private, not talking, not sharing events from your life. We tell stories, and stories are how we build community and build trust and build relationships. And if all of that is shut off from your human experience with your the people that you're around, then when it comes time for you to test the relationship, there will be no roots there. So what will happen in that moment when you need them the most is you'll be misunderstood. You'll be misunderstood. Something you say will be taken the wrong way, and maybe you've been there before. Maybe all of this is just, I'm reading your life like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe that's happening to you right now, and you're right here and you're ready to listen and to how to move on. And we're going to talk about that. But I just need to let you know that this is a pattern. It's a principle. It's a life occurrence that you cannot stop it from happening. And when it does happen to you, it's a warning that you need to change something and shift something so that you can have better, more meaningful relationships. So you'll be misunderstood. People will misunderstand what you say. Something that you say will be taken out of context. How many of you have been there? Right? Something that you say will be taken out of context. When you ask for help, when you finally do ask for help, which will be like you coming out of your comfort zone, and you're just trying something new to ask for help, it will not be regarded. And it's not because people hate you, but it's because you haven't been sharing. And when you don't share, when you don't speak, you don't get that practice of being transparent. You don't get the practice of being vulnerable and being secure with being vulnerable. It requires practice. You have to practice that. You have to practice telling something off or fallible about yourself, so that everyone around you can see, he's just like me or she's just like me, and therefore deserves my empathy. That's how we connect. That's how we build. And so if you're not practicing doing that, the times where you really actually need someone to come through for you, it's going to seem clunky, mechanical, and awkward because you're not used to being vulnerable. You're not used to sharing. And so in those moments, what's going through the person's mind is, I don't know if I could trust this person with my effort. I don't know if I could trust this person with my energy, because in the past, their history is that they've just shut everyone out. They just closed everyone off, and they just withdrew themselves from the community. So I'm not going to put myself out on a limb for this person who I'm not even sure they're going to fully appreciate or even come through for me. Hello, somebody. Right? But before we get to the next part, why don't you help me start this conversation? In the comments below, has anyone ever put up a wall, built up a wall, right? Has anyone ever shut their emotions off, shut their life off from people for whatever reason? State your reason, and just please tell how it turned out. Did it work for you? Did it secure you? Did it make you safe, or did you regret it? Just put them in the comments below so that we could get this conversation started. So now, another pain point for living this life of building walls is that when you have conversations, they're awkward, right? So not only is the request that you make, when you really need the request, people don't listen to you because they can't be sure that you're going to honor their sacrifice or even reciprocate their sacrifice. The next thing is that conversations will be awkward because as a person who builds walls, you're going to be over processing and over censoring your words. You're going to be over censoring your words, like, sounding like a robot that lets every other word come out of the factory. There are going to be spaces between your thoughts, and your eyes are going to go to and fro. How do I know? Because I did it. I know that feeling of saying, well, I can't say that, can't say this. And as the thoughts are coming from your mind through your mouth, you're like, nope, 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 nope. And what comes out is like Morse code. Doop, 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 doop. And it does not sound natural. It doesn't sound endearing. It doesn't sound like you're being authentic or vulnerable. So all of those things are things to be considered, and I can only share it because I've been there. Okay. The last one is that you, like I said, you'd be marginalized because people won't know that they can trust trust you with their effort, trust you with their energy, trust you with their trust, okay, because of your history. So if you have been building walls, you're going to realize that the walls that you built to keep you safe are also the walls that will keep you stuck. And so the key and the end of this video is, how do you become unstuck? Or how do you break down those walls? Could you imagine you get to the point in your life where you realize you have to break down the very walls you built up, right? Isn't that something? But don't fear, don't be afraid, don't get nervous, because you have to break down the very wall that you put up. This is a good thing because it will allow you to invite the beauty of relationships into your life. It will allow you to invite all that God has placed in people for you. Okay? There are people who are called to be a blessing to you. Sure, there are people that are sent on assignment to aggravate you, get on your last nerve, try to taunt you and prevent you from becoming who God wants you to be. But don't look at that. Look at the people who He has hand selected to be a blessing to your life. And those people will be turned off if you're not actually honoring their presence in your life. What do I mean by that? People who God placed in your life to bless you, those are meek people or humble people. And you can have arrogant, what's that word I'm looking for? Assertive, bossy, rude people. But I can tell you for myself, meek people are like doves and sheep. And arrogant, bossy, manipulative people, they're like goats, snakes, and all other type of weird animals that you would never keep as pets and introduce to your children and have around your children. Okay, so when God places these people in your life, the people who will most quickly bow out gracefully and say, "This is not for me," is a meek person who knows their worth and knows and only goes where they are honored. All right. So I'm just trying to help somebody out here. If you want to invite the true, proper people that God has brought into your life to bless you, those aren't people with billboards saying, "Look at me," or "Hey, I'm so great." They're meek people who God has given favor to extend to you. But if you do not honor those people, you don't recognize them, they will slip out of your life and you will never know, because that's what meekness, that's what humility is all about. Humble people, they don't make noise coming in, they don't make noise coming out. They're on assignment every single day of their life. All right, so I hope this is giving you some insight. So now, how do you overcome the walls that you've built? How do you break down the walls that you build? Yes, you have to break them down. Well, first, you have to try, right? And normally, I hate that word "try" because that word "try" is just a polite way to say a lie, or trying is failing with honor. That's what I teach my kids. I teach my kids, never try. You do. Don't try, because every time you try, you say, you give your mind a 50% chance of backing out. Okay, but when you say, "I'm going to do," then you have to commit 100% of your effort and your energy to make sure you accomplish what you said you will do, not what you will try. Okay, so but in this context, when I say try, I'm talking about the or rather a venture, right? You have to capture the spirit of venture. You have to capture the spirit of, I'm going to step out on the water where my feet may fail. Okay, and you have to have that mindset before you even do the thing. When you have the right mindset, the thing will become easy. All right, so first you have to make a decision and say that the walls have robbed you enough. You have to get to that point The walls have robbed you enough. You're ready for a change. And when you are ready for the change, the first thing you have to do is get on your armor, gird your belt up, because you're going to have to try some things that make you afraid. Okay? And I'm sorry I can't sugarcoat it, because if I try to sugarcoat it, then there goes your deliverance. But if I tell you the way it is, the principles of life, then you will either be able to try them out and see that they work, or you'll deny it, and then eventually you'll see all along that they would have worked if you tried them in the first place. So I stand with telling you the truth. Okay, so the first thing is you have to prepare your mind to try. Prepare your mind to fall and get up. Okay? And I know that sounds scary to some of you, but guess what? This is for your future. This is for your life. And if you have children, this is for the example that you show your children. All right? This is the best way to teach your children to accept all the riches that God has for them and not be afraid to be themselves. You can say it all you want, but if they're seeing a different example being spoken through your living, you're just going to be a hypocrite, and you don't want to be a hypocrite. Okay, I don't have hypocrites subscribing to my channel. So first thing, prepare your mind to do something different. Next, you want to take steps to get to know someone. Take steps to go beyond what you feel comfortable. Remember, you have to prepare yourself to do something different. Take steps to go beyond what you feel is comfortable. What's comfortable will keep you trapped. What's uncomfortable will break you past your walls. Okay? So that means, yes, not waiting for a conversation to start, but actually initiating a conversation. That means, yes, going beyond the obligatory greetings and salutations of, hey, how are you doing? Yes, I'm fine. Great. To actually ask someone a question. The best way to break out of your shell and tear down a wall is to genuinely be interested and care about someone. Once you have that mindset of I'm going to work on caring for this person, then you will find the questions to ask, because the key is asking the questions so that you can find out about this individual. And then next, you have to remind yourself that this is happening. It's not when I decide to do it. Say that it's happening now, that you're going to speak to yourself and let yourself know this is happening. I'm not doing this another day. I'm not living that way another day. Okay. And another point is you can work on learning how to explain yourself. All right. Because that's a skill that you're going to have to develop because of how long you've been closed off and shut off from the world. So you're going to have to what I call give disclaimers. And when you give disclaimers, I learned this a while ago, about 2015, when I was doing network marketing. One of my uplines, she was very skilled at giving disclaimers, and I picked it up. I observed and saw how it smoothed things out socially. When you're presenting your idea or you're presenting your position, and you just mention what this is not, right? So she would say something like this, I'm not saying what I'm about to say. I'm not saying because you're not beautiful or anything, but you look really lovely today. And at first I was wondering, like, why is she going the extra mile to just say what she's not saying, right? That, to me, a person like me, that seemed like such a waste of time and a waste of your breath. But it's only after I saw the results and I saw how far she went socially that I understood why she did it, and I gathered the wisdom from it. What you do is, these brains of ours, they're imaginative, and if you do not give thoughts context to box the thoughts in, box it in, our thoughts will run wild, right? So it's so easy for a person to not say but think. If you say, "Oh, you look lovely," and then you make the mistake of saying the word today, it's so easy for that mind to say, "Well, didn't I look lovely yesterday?" It's so easy. It's just, even if the person's like, "No, I know this person," it's gonna be right back there in the back of their mind. So what she did was she explained, "I am not saying this for you to go off on that tangent or that set of train tracks. I want you to stay on these tracks and follow me here. Stay with me. Stay with me." Right? This is what I'm saying, and this is the reason why I'm saying it. And what that does is it creates a clear expectation, a clear context in the mind of the person hearing, so that what you say is not misunderstood. So for you, that would mean, this is an area where it also works for me, right? When you ask a weird, awkward question and it comes from out of nowhere. And that's something that I've been told that I do and I have to work on. I'm still working on it. I'm a work in progress. All right. So I've been told that, sometimes I could just ask a question, and it's because the gears are turning in my mind, and then someone's just caught completely off guard, like, where did that come from? So if you ask the question, "So what's your phone number?" And then the person's just like, "Wait, what? What kind of question is that?" It's good to follow up with a disclaimer or follow up with a word of intention, right? So you'd say, "What's your phone number?" I'm only asking because, I gave you mine, and I thought, just in case the service is bad in this area, it would be good for both of us to have each other's contact. Something that simple can make a difference. So there you have it. Take time to tear down those walls so that all of the goodness, the relationships that God has for you can actually make it to you. All right. And that's what it's about. Don't focus on the bad. Of course, bad things happen, but fix your eyes. I love that passage in Philippians 4:8, where it tells us that, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things." So here we have a command from the Lord to think on good things. Fill your mind with good things, and as you, I'd say that's an overall, you'll hear me repeat this in other videos, because it is such a concept of victory for so many areas of your life. Just focus on what you're putting in. Make sure that you're putting in more praiseworthy things than low level and abase things in your life, in your mind. You're putting in words of promise from the Lord more than you're putting in words of gossip about people around town. All right. So just stay away from all of that, so that you can keep your mind pure and positive, so that you're not encumbering yourself with all this clutter, making you a cynic and making you just a negative, pessimistic person. So there you have it. Tear those walls down, because the walls that you think are keeping you safe, they're keeping you stuck.